Here is a quick tutorial about how to finish the ends of elastic cord from Functional Clothing Lab. On this graphic picture you basically can see all the operations that would be completed during this tutorial, so it might suffice to just look at it, but for more details take a look at the video as well. First you need to prepare the tabs themselves. Fold them in half and stitch a tapered row of stitches, broader at the top of the tab, tapering towards the bottom. Narrow part should be basically wide enough for the cord to fit. Then insert your cord through the prepared tab. For the matter, it could be any cord, just the cord that you need to finish and attach to your garment under the seam. And you want to avoid the bulk and the seam itself. You'll see later how the tab will help with that.
Choose a stitch length that would be coordinated with your cord diameter. If it's really tiny cord, it should be slightly above 0. My cord is about 2 millimeters, so I choose the stitch length number 2. But for each machine is different, so choose yours.
Then go back and forth many times for the cord to catch with the tab. Then cut the excess of fabrics, so then when you turn it inside out, it's not too bulky. Then burn the edges so they would not fray. Then just with this kind of movement like that, turn it inside out. Some fabrics are much easier to turn inside out if they're slippery, but this is not that slippery. Now you can see why we created the tapered shape of the tab, because it makes it much easier to turn inside out. If it would have been the same width as the cord all the way, it would be much harder because it would be much more narrow. So now we had this nice end tab that securely holds the cord end, because we stitched many times back and forth. Now this tab would actually be inserted in the seam and fixed there. I'll pull it backwards where it's supposed to sit, and then just top stitch it. Now the cord is attached securely and lies flat. Now I will also show you the end tabs that I want to leave on outside. This is hidden, so it actually doesn't matter that the tab matches, but here I want to try and leave it on outside. I see that this one might be a little bit too narrow, but I'll give it a try. Basically, I don't calculate the precise length of these tabs. I just cut whatever 5-6 centimeters, and then I just trim it. Instead of calculating and making a proper pattern piece, I just do it from scratch by eye. Then when I stitch it together, I leave about like 10 millimeters, so it has enough space to grab and get properly attached. Don't get too close to the stitches when you are cutting the seam allowance, especially if the fabric is a little loose. Just cut enough to make the job of turning inside out easier for yourself. Let's see if it will cooperate. Yeah, this is not the fabric that is very easy to turn inside out. Maybe I will have to make a new one. Let's see if I can coax it into turning inside out. Come on. It worked. Some stitches a little opened, but my tab is actually long enough so that I can keep it and just trim the end. So these are two different cases when you can use the end tab for the cord. You can either leave it on outside or use it for the inside of the cord channel. So here is the ready garment where those end tabs were used to hold the cord for the hood cinches. Since I made this method, I use it for basically all the cord attachments. If you have any questions, leave the comments below and I'll try to answer. I hope you find it useful.